Welcome to the Halloween Marathon of 2022.
Okay, so I'm going to post here a picture of a video game cover. Try to figure out what it is. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to figure it out, okay? Here we go. Here, I'll throw a hint. It's a game from one of the consoles of the second generation. Alright, time's up. If you didn't get the correct name, you know what? I don't blame you because I probably would not have guessed it myself. This game right here is Frankenstein's Monster on the Atari 2600. Unlike the poor marketing team that was in charge of the Sega Master System, the departments in charge of making these games look good to the consumer had plenty of money to do their job properly. And they had to, because the graphics and the overall games were never that great, so you had to entice the consumer with some of the best artwork that you can muster up on the front cover of the game. Here's another example. Take a look at this box art cover. Everybody knows what it is, right? It's Missile Command. Now let's take a look at the game. Thank you. Oh man, look at that cover. That looks so awesome. This game is gonna kick ass. I can't wait to get home and play it. Oh, son of a bitch. What did I do with the receipt? There was no social media as we know it today back in the early 80s. So if you bought it, you were stuck with it. Alright, so back to the game. So the premise of the game is that you must stop Frankenstein's monster from being unleashed. You can do so by building a barricade around him, thereby sealing him up once he comes to life. In order to do this, you have to travel from the lower part of the screen to collect those bricks and then bring them to the higher part of the screen and build the wall that will keep the monster in place. Every time you successfully place another brick in the wall, the game's difficulty ramps up a bit. As you do this, the lightning bolts from the storm continue to feed the power probe above him and eventually will bring him to life. Once you reach the top right part of the screen and then enter the green part just below Frankenstein's monster, you enter a second screen where you must dodge bats as you make your way to the top. If you are successful, you erect one piece of the wall. You have to do this 6 times in order to get the full wall in place. If you fail to build the wall by the time Frankenstein's monster comes to life, it's game over. And you can tell how far along in the process you are by looking at his color. He slowly turns green from the bottom up. So it's kind of similar to when you eat at Taco Bell. You get the idea.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
What's really cool here is that if he does break free, he comes toward you slowly before the screen goes batshit on you. Another way to get a game over is to lose all your lives. You could approach the game in terms of just beating it, or you could play for points. Yep, that was a thing back then. We actually played for scores. High scores. Look it up, I'm not lying. Like 99% of games on the Atari, this title takes place mainly on one screen, with the other screen being the one with the bats. You'll have to contend with plenty of enemies as you carry the bricks from one place to the other. You will come into contact with bats, ghosts, tarantulas, and other spiders that are not tarantulas. If you happen to run into them, they actually don't kill you, they just slow you down a bit and deduct points from you, just like in real life. But you actually do lose a life if you fall into the acid pit though. Yeah, also you can't access the uppermost left part of the screen where Frankenstein's monster is at. That's off limits. Not sure why, don't ask. This game was developed and released by Data Age in 1983, the same year as the video game Crash. For graphics, I'm going to give this one a 7. Now, when compared to other Atari titles, this one looks like it uses a bit of more color. The animation of Frankenstein's monster coming towards the screen was a nice little touch. Gameplay wise, I'm gonna give it a 4. It's not a simple shooter or one where you just sit back and watch stuff come at you. You have to traverse the playing field while avoiding obstacles and then get thrown into another screen for a bit of frantic action as you try to dodge the bats. This one gets a 6 on the Halloween meter. It would have been nice to maybe have another stage or two prolonging the replayability of it, but as it stands, you could do much worse on the Atari 2600. Much worse. Now join me here tomorrow for a title based on a horror movie franchise introduced in the mid-80s. See you then. Oh, what do you know? I actually found out why you can't access that part of the screen up top. And it's because